Students, in this video lecture, we'll study about the smart grid communication and measurement infrastructure. The content of my video is we'll discuss about what is communication and measurement. Next, we'll discuss about the characteristics of smart grid communication technology. Later, we'll talk about the LAN, HAN, and NAN technologies. Okay. So, now come to the communication and measurement. We know that how the communication is very important in the smart grid technology. That communication, the measure basically we are measuring the data, we are monitoring the components, and we are controlling some of the equipments which are there in the smart grid in real time. So to do this, we need to have some communication infrastructure. So here the technology plays a very important role that is functioning in the smart grid. So there is a need for some standards and some protocols are very much necessary. That is enforcing, or it must give the security to the transmission of the data of some critical and highly sensitive information which is going on in the communication scheme. The most important aspect of the communication is, as the each and every point or the reliability or the efficiency of the smart grid is dependent on the communication of the data or the data communication. So the security as well as we can say the standard whatever we are going to follow in data transmission or data communication, that is very important. So some of the new technologies are already introduced in measurement as well as in the communication of the signals. Let us study about what are the different wired and wireless communication technologies that we can have or we can use in our smart grid. Let us study in general. See, first one is the MPLS. MPLS is multi-protocol label switching. It is one of the high performance telecommunication network which is very much useful for data transmission between the different network nodes. Network node means the different substations are treated as nodes. So in between the substation or in between the components in a substation, as we are transferring the data, they are noted as the networks. So that is very important. So in that extent, the MPLS technology or telecommunication network is very much used. Then the next one is WiMAX. Already you know about the WiMAX. The long form of WiMAX is Worldwide Interoperability for the Microwave Access. So this is one of the wireless telecommunication technology where for one point to multi-point data. So from one sender to many receivers, as we are calling it as a point to multi-point. So for point to multi-point data transmission, this type of internet technology is very much beneficial. Then the next option is our BPL. This is called as broadband over power line communication. This type of power line communication with internet access is already in use and very much useful. Then next type of technology is about Wi-Fi. Already you know about this is we can use very much in case of wireless local area network, because it has a range problem. So if you have one particular wireless node, so up to certain meters you can have the wireless network. After that you won't get the wireless network. So these are some of the technologies where communication can be done. Additional technologies that include using the fiber optic cable, and by using the mesh network, by using the multi-point spread spectrum network. These are the some options we have in case of the wireless communication. Let us study what are the 5 characteristics of the smart grid communication technology. The very important characteristic of the smart grid is it must have very high bandwidth. The high bandwidth is the one of the best characteristic, and the next characteristic is it must be IP enabled digital communication, because it supports the communication technology must be IP enabled, intellectual property enable communication. Then encryption, the data encryption must be there, because you know that why the data encryption is used, why encryption is used, because when you are transmitting the data from the sender to receiver, one sender to receiver, in between the sender to receiver there is a communication channel, that in that communication channel the hackers may hack the data, then some disturbed data may go to the receiver, and based on that data the decision may be anything, the analysis may be anything. To avoid that, the data which is transmitted from the sender, that is encrypted. So next characteristic is the cyber security, very important. As we are transmitting the data in the communication channel, the security must be provided to that. And the next characteristic is about the support of quality of service and voice over internet protocol. This is very important. These are the some characteristics of smart grid communication technology. Now let us discuss about the LAN technology. This is one of the most important communication technology where the many people will use in official purpose for the communication. Already you know about the local area network, or that is LAN. It's a kind of shared access technology where the different computers which are attached to that particular network, the devices which are connected to that particular network, they will share the common medium, they will share the common, all are connected in a particular LAN, means they can be communicated, each and every component, each and every folder of that particular device can be monitored by anyone, because all are connected in a LAN. So to do that you need to have some coaxial cable system, or twisted pair cable system, or optical fiber cable system can be used for the wired communication network. Wired LAN can be established by using this. This particular is usually LAN is a physical or wired technology it is. So network interface card we are using for this, that will connect to the network. Using the network interface card only, the particular device is connected to the network. The network software manages some of the communication between the different stations, different devices on the system. Usually what happens is the LAN can have some of the limitations. It can operate or integrate up to only 100 computers, up to several hundred computers. You cannot connect more computers in a LAN. As per its limitation, you can have around several hundreds of computers can be, or devices can be connected in a LAN. So it is some kind of high speed network. Around 10 kilometer, the LAN capacity it may have around 10 kilometer. Now let us discuss what are some special attributes and advantages of LAN. So very important attribute of the LAN is resource sharing. Because it will allow some of the intelligent devices to store the programs or to share the data files. Every resource of that particular device can be shared. The resource sharing is one of the special attribute of LAN. And area covered, this is most important because LAN is a restricted network only for situated for the small geographical area. Especially you can give the example of office. In office all the 10 or 20 computers are connected in LAN. So in office we can use the LAN connectivity. In utilities, in campus, in institutions, in labs, maybe 10 or 20, 30 computers are connected in a LAN. So like that it's a area restricted. As far as the cost and availability is considered, the application software and interfaces devices are affordable. We can afford these devices, and no issue about the cost condition. And high channel speed, it can transfer the data up to 10 million bits per second, 1 to 10 million bits per second. That is the speed of data, especially in case of LAN. And as far as flexibility is considered, it can have the low probability of error and easy to maintain and operate. So any people can debug the error and he can operate it very efficient. So LAN is one of the most efficient and most popular communication technology in case of this. It has three categories of data transmission. One is the unicast transmission, where the single packet is sent to the one destination from one source to one destination, one-way communication, unicast. And second one is the multicast transmission. In case of multicast transmission, what happens? Single data packet is sent to the many of the nodes. So multicast it is. Many means known. So because one sender is sending to the 10 known devices, 10 only 10 they are known customers. But in case of broadcast transmission, the single data packet is sent to all the nodes which are there in the network. What is the difference between multicast and broadcast now? In case of multicast, the single data packet is going to the very known restricted number of computers. But in case of broadcast, the people who come on that particular address, everybody will receive the data. So the signal is broadcast data. For example, you can take the radio signals. So radio signal is broadcasted with so and so frequency, 98.7, 100, 99.5. So the receiver who comes in that particular range, he will receive that data. Okay, unknown. So sender don't know who is receiving that data. But the point of the multicast is the sender knows that I am only sending to the 10 devices. I am only sending to the 20 devices. Like that communication is called as the multicast data transmission. Let us look into the LAN topologies. The various LAN topologies, architecture structures are used. One is the bus topology, ring topology, star topology, tree topology. This is how you are going to connect your devices, how you are fixing your architecture for the network architecture. If it is a bus type of station propagates the data from all other, it's like a bus. It's like a bus means straight one to other like this. Ring type bus topology means the devices are connected in unidirectional transmission from one device to the second device, second to third, third to fourth to fifth, like that. All the devices are connected in a ring fashion. Then star topology means one center point is there. From that, the devices are connected in a star fashion and data is communicating like that. Tree topology means it's like a tree, how the nodes are created from one of the branches, like that. Its network is communicating like a tree. So now let us discuss about the home access network. So home access network is also a LAN network, but it is confined to the individual home. Okay, it is restricted to one home. So it enables remote control of automated digital devices, appliances throughout that home. So in one home, if 10 intelligent devices are connected, for all the 10 intelligent devices, the network is created. So for that, smart meters, smart appliances, web-based monitoring can be integrated into this level. So now as Smart Grid is insisting the customers to have the smart meters, so smart meter is also one of the IP enabled device, or it is a smart device. So for that particular device we need internet. So that internet or network is given to that particular device. So such devices which are connected in a particular home or house, for that the network is provided, that is called as HAN, that is home access network. Now let us study what is NAN, that is neighborhood area network. It's a wireless network where the distribution of the network is done through wireless technology to the different distribution applications. It will cover around an area which is larger than the LAN, because as it is a wireless communication, the LAN has a restricted area like 10 kilometers, around 1 to 10 kilometers. But by using neighborhood or NAN technology, we can increase the area as compared to the LAN. Some of the architectural structures will focus the integration and interoperability of various domains within the smart grid. So this is about some of the network technologies and where and how these technologies are utilized in a smart grid. Those all points we studied in this particular video lecture. In the next video lecture, we'll study the next part of this particular model. Thank you.